So exciting news today, and that is that the Jacksonville Jaguars have finalized all the coaches on the coaching staff.
Jacksonville Jags, you know how we ball. Best believe it, got the people screaming out, Duval. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars, too much for your crew to handle. Keep it lit, and this is the #1 YouTube channel by UCF Jaguar. Yeah, we about to blast off. If you've been a fan, then this.
So 4 weeks ago today, the Jaguars officially hired head coach Urban Meyer, and it was obviously an exciting time for the Jaguars fans. And slowly over the last few weeks, there were different leaks about Charlie Strong being hired as assistant head coach, and then you heard about the coordinator hirings, and then different position coaches and all that stuff. And then now it was officially announced the coaching staff. It was interesting. They did it on Twitter, and I recommend you guys go into the Jaguars Twitter account and they did a pretty good thread on there about scrolling through and kind of giving a bio of each of the guys. So I was on there scrolling through, kind of looking, and all of a sudden I stopped at this one guy. Randomly, the director of sports performance had all this engagement on his tweet. There were all these like retweets, quote tweets, comments, and after reading about him, apparently this guy was with Iowa from 1999 to 2020, and he was basically fired from the team for allegations based on racial comments as well as belittling players. So Urban Meyer, we all knew that he wasn't the cleanest guy in the bunch, and now he's officially 4 weeks in. He's already done his first kind of sketchy move, and that is hiring a guy that has been accused of all kinds of racism. In a year, like within a year of all the crazy BLM stuff that's been going on, this is not a good look right now, and it's obviously it's very hard to defend and support this decision. Now, Urban Meyer, and it kind of sucked. One thing that sucked about today was pretty much half the time that Urban Meyer was up there speaking, it was pretty much about Chris Doyle. What's your relationship with them? Did you do a lot of vetting? How is this going to affect certain things? And I mean, he 100% is behind this hire, and he trusts him. And he did his research. He looked back and basically, he even went back to 2017 saying that there were only 2 defensive injuries, and he was kind of noting the Jaguars' injuries as of late. But Chris Doyle, he comes from Iowa, and I guess if there's any silver lining here, like when he was at Iowa. And it's tough to talk about this, but nowadays it has to become more of a discussion, and that's basically just all the things about racial injustice. And I never saw myself speaking about this on a channel, but that's kind of where we live right now, and it is a little bit uncomfortable. But I'll say this: Iowa is a school that if you're a black athlete, you're a minority. You know what I mean? Like those, especially Iowa, Nebraska, those schools is predominantly white players, and it's a predominantly white area. And you're also with young kids, 18 to 20-year-olds that you're kind of dealing with over there. Now you go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and not only do you have adults, but as a white person, you're in a minority. You know what I mean? The team is mostly black players, so hopefully that kind of gives him a little bit of a step back, and it puts him a little bit more out of his comfort zone. And hopefully that there's no real issue with him. Hopefully he just conducts his business as is, because I don't think that he's all of a sudden this happens and boom, he's no longer racist. That's in him. It's a part of who he is. But hopefully he can have a good civil business relationship with the players on the Jaguars. And now it's better that this is out in the open as opposed to him this kind of being behind the scenes. You know what I mean? At least players know, and the people know, and the coaching staff, and everybody knows what this guy's previous allegations are and kind of where he stands at all that. And luckily that's out there, and instead of him being kind of closet with this and kind of telling players under his breath different stuff. But I don't know, it's that's as silver line as it kind of gets. It's not a hiring that I'm big on, but like Urban Meyer did state, this team has been extremely injured these last couple years. So hopefully he can come in here and do some good stuff and hopefully clean up the injuries for the Jaguars. But obviously it's not something that is ideal with the team. So Chris Doyle is the director of sports performance. He didn't speak today, but the guys that spoke today were Urban Meyer, obviously, like I said. Also, Charlie Strong spoke, Darrell Bevel, the offense coordinator, Joe Cullen, the defense coordinator, and as well as Schneider, who is the special teams coach. So some guys, Charlie Strong spoke first, and it's really, honestly, I've been a fan of Charlie Strong for some time. Going back to my days where I was a Florida fan, I always really respected and admired Coach Strong. He's just a good guy of the league, and players do really like him, and it was cool kind of hearing him speak. And Charlie Strong is essentially Urban Meyer's right-hand man, as Urban Meyer stated, and it was cool seeing him in the teal. And he also spoke about Miles Jack and how much he really admires him on the film. So it is cool finally getting to actually hear from Charlie Strong. Obviously, things didn't work out very well for him as a head coach outside of his time at Louisville with Teddy Bridgewater. But Charlie Strong, it's good to kind of have him on the staff, as it's his and Urban Meyer's first time being in the NFL as a coach. So that's pretty cool. Next, we also heard from defense coordinator Joe Cullen. Joe Cullen, it's pretty much official. The Jaguars are going to be running a 3-4. And one thing that kind of gives us away is the fact that the Jaguars have an inside linebackers coach and an outside linebackers coach. You wouldn't have that if you're running a 4-3, especially when the Jaguars are running a nickel package and there's like 2 linebackers in at a time. The Jaguars are going to be running a 3-4. This is what he kind of most recently ran. And one great refreshing thing about him is that he is a polar opposite from Todd Wash. Last year, probably after the draft, Todd Wash went out and said that as long as I'm the defense coordinator of this team, we will be running a 4-3 defense. And Joe Cullen came out today and said that, look, we're going to be running the personnel that fits our players best. And that was very refreshing. Todd Wash tried to fit players into what he did what he liked to do as a coach, while on the other hand, Joe Cullen is going to be able to run schemes based off of the talent that is at hand. So obviously Todd Wash, really, it almost looked like he had a lot of workplace comfortability, because it just sometimes his defense just looked lazy, and it was like a guy that's been comfortable at his job for some time and has job security. Joe Cullen, it looks like his first stint as a defense coordinator in the NFL. Urban Meyer said that in doing research, he's always really admired Joe Cullen's defense for the Ravens and just how he kind of handled the defensive line play. So it'll be interesting to see going forward just really how Joe Cullen does as a first-time defense coordinator. And then last of all, Darrell Bevel kind of spoke. He's the new offense coordinator for the Jaguars, and one cool thing that came out of that was that he did note that Urban Meyer, him, and Brian Schottenheimer, who is the passing game coordinator, will be at Trevor Lawrence's pro day tomorrow, where he's going to throw in front of NFL teams live on NFL Network at 10 Eastern time. Unfortunately, I'll be on a plane to Puerto Rico, so I won't be able to watch it live. Hopefully the airline has NFL Network on. Oh my God, that would be so sweet. But I'm not going to count on that. So that's really cool to hear. And also, one thing that kind of helped Urban Meyer with this whole hire is the fact that Brett Favre did recommend, basically said that, look, Darrell Bevel, I had my best year under him. You need to go out and hire that guy. Now, sometimes this stuff doesn't work out the best. Peyton Manning basically got Adam Gase his job for the New York Jets, and I think he even helped out with the Miami Dolphins. Hopefully it's not a similar situation, but Darrell Bevel does have good history. Obviously he did get great with Brett Favre. He also had some of his best years with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson really hasn't been doing much in the playoffs since really Darrell Bevel kind of left them, and then Matt Stafford really liked Darrell Bevel to the point where once Darrell Bevel left, Matthew Stafford did not want to be on the Lions anymore. So that's one good thing about Darrell Bevel, and him and it's interesting hearing them talk, because really they have a pretty good vision for what they want their offense to be, and they know who their quarterback's going to be, and that really helps out. They're not going to sit here and be doing homework on Justin Fields or Zach Wilson determining who's going to be the best of their offense. They know what they have, so now they can really bring in guys for the offense to help fit what they want to do with Trevor Lawrence and all that. So all that is pretty exciting. Now, I'm very excited that the Jaguars coaching staff is down. Obviously, this was, like I said, 4 weeks in the making. So we'll see kind of how this staff does. Obviously, it's, you know, a big demerit and a big black spot, a big black cloud is kind of put over the whole thing with Chris Doyle kind of being added on. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to make anybody not be Jaguar fans because of it, but obviously it's not something that's super ideal for the situation. So yeah, tomorrow Trevor Lawrence is going to be throwing, kind of have his version of a pro day. That's going to be extremely exciting. I really can't wait to, I'm not going to be able to watch it live, but really like watch the replays of it and see all that go down. And I'll try to I'll be out of the house. I'll be in Puerto Rico from Friday to Tuesday. So I'll hope to maybe come out with a vlog while over there, or if any big news breaks, maybe even tomorrow night, I'll come out with a video basically with my thoughts on the whole Trevor Lawrence situation with how he does at tomorrow's pro day. Obviously, he's going to be going under a surgery, so hopefully all that goes well too. But yeah, I believe that is it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Go Jags. You guys watched the whole video. Really appreciate that. You guys can subscribe to the channel for the best source of Jaguars news on the YouTube platform. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. And you can become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month for exclusive channel content. Thank you guys, and go Jags.